Right.
They're like I feel like when they're like 13 or 12, that's when the child goes to the child.
Right. Okay. So you are also registered.
Yeah, you do it.
I helped you do it. But why am I not getting any emails on this one? I have this.
They offer good food.
They had so many leftovers, it was almost absurd.
I didn't want the barbecue leftovers. They were fine. The barbecue was fine.
Like the black owned restaurant.
Oh, black owned?
I think so.
They should get that macaroni and cheese.
Was it that bad?
I don't know what they put in there, but it wasn't even like
Spicy or
no, it wasn't cheap.
it wasn't cheesy, you're right.
It was dry.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe that's how they save money, that the cheese is too expensive. And they just don't put the cheese in.
Well, it's like there's a lot of cheese in. You have to go to a whole thick layer of shredded cheese to get the macaroni.
That's how they should have done it. So we were given a hard time because I brought Perdomo, the chair of my department.
Mm-hmm.
But that weekend cannot happen without faculty.
So what? So is that why he went with his wife and daughter? But this ain't a hotel.
Right. Which is fine, but as you get older, it's not as cool to stay in hotels. Like, you can't sleep, the baby stays up all night, cries, and it's like. But if we don't have faculty there, our dean gave us a hard time. We didn't have the request for travel or chaperones. So I was supposed to visit him that weekend to see the baby, him and his wife. But for the weekend to happen, I told him we all could meet down there. And that's what we did. But Ebony's like, why'd you bring him? I never would have brought the old chair of the department. Brittany's here. Oh, she's on her way. Do you remember Dr. Rigsby? What year did you start? He died on New Year's of 2021. You would have never met him. He was like an old white beard guy that was like, he died New Year's 2020 and into 2021 of COVID. Yep. But she said, I would have never brought him. I'm like, you guys didn't even want to hang out with him ever. No. The old chair was like, they thought he may have needed more multicultural training, so to speak. Does that make sense? I mean, we all could use it. I get it.
But he was like an old white guy.
He was older. She's like, I never would have brought him. I'm like, well, clearly you guys wouldn't even hang out with him. Like, I know you want to bring him. Perdomo's different. Perdomo's actually real with the students.
She never met him.
Right. So she's like, why'd you bring him? And like, that affects our budget. Now, all they had to do was buy one hotel room for like $200. I bet you the food alone was thousands of dollars.
I don't know, because she was like, I was eavesdropping.
Good.
I was eavesdropping, and it's like, she had to pay for it. Dr. Harley wanted the print of the price of the room. Mind you, it was 12 kids. It was not 12 kids, it was 12 of us, and then there was you, and then, I don't think Verona was on there, but it was the other woman, she had came go on the bus with us. She wanted a hotel room, and that was it. So she was like, she looked at it and she said they didn't take the taxes off of it.
Which that's not our fault though.
Yeah, but I feel like she had to move with range how much it was gonna cost anyway. But all she told us was not to get room service. We didn't get room service.
Right.
I ate breakfast.
Right. It was free breakfast. So it was only $1,200 for the hotel rooms?
It might have been.
Damn.
I didn't look
12 rooms for $100 a night. That makes sense.
Yeah, but they didn't taxes on. It might have been more.
Well, they always forget to take the taxes off, and the university always has to fight them for it because we're tax exempt. But I thought you had better eavesdropping material, like you heard them say.
So
Why?
I
The,
was physically looking at the paper. Be like, what I'm gonna do.
but they were like, "Why did you bring Dr. Perdomo?"
Well, don't you need to bring two copies?
You should. Nikita and I went 2 years ago. I was the only one who could make it last year. It's not easy for us, is it? It's not a part of our job, and it disrupts our whole weekend. But we want it for you guys. That's why we go.
I was gonna be running it. She said,
Dr. Wiley should have done it. You are absolutely correct. I said, so you set up this whole weekend and you can't even make it? I gave her like the side eye, like, so wait, you set it up on Veterans Day, Perdomo's a veteran, my anniversary, 11/11, and you can't make it yourself? She's like, sorry.
I knew you was bad. That was your anniversary. You might have a whole plan. The grandma takes the kids, y'all go on a date, and kids free for the whole night, do whatever y'all need to do. Like, that would have had a good old anniversary, but nah.
We gave him the side eye, but then Ebony threw it back on me like, why'd you bring him? Like, he's not even social work. But more psychology students go to get their MSW. I was a psychology student who got an MSW, period.
It was easier to graduate with.
Either one.
Like, if you're a psychology major, because, and like Angela, like, I don't think you stayed, but like, they had students like Tanya and Angelique.
She was a psych major.
Yeah.
I brought her last year.
She's taking it, and then she's getting her MSW.
Right. It just takes 2 years instead of 1 year. It sucks for them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably better than like you going to get your master's and you have to get your doctorate.
It's way better. That's why I ditched psychology at undergraduate. I never took another psychology course.
It's a lot. Like,
Yeah, I know.
and I feel that, and I wanted to be a psychology major, like when I was in like middle school.
So who convinced you then? How did you find out about it?
It was one of them like they did them job fairs.
Yeah.
And they had to do it for middle school. So it was a psychologist. We had a psychologist in our school.
And he had to get a
She talked
doctorate.
about it. Yeah, she had
Yep.
a doctorate. She
She's
talked
like,
about
just
it.
do social work.
No, she's just like, it's very rewarding, it's long, and it's, you know, have math in it. And she was advocating for like, yeah, you should, yeah, become a psychologist. But social work, I mean, social work.
So there was a little bit of behind the scenes drama, if you guys couldn't tell. She's like, why'd you bring Perdomo? And I'm like, this weekend cannot happen without chaperones. I know everybody's an adult, but Central makes us do a request for travel and send faculty. They're like, no, it's cool. Ebony's there. I'm like, Ebony no longer works at Central. Like, I know she did.
Yeah, so you need somebody from.
We need somebody from Central. And again, it was Veterans Day weekend for him. It was my anniversary, 11/11. And we were going to go up and see his baby. But I was like, well, we could, if he came to here, which he did, and he's the chair of the department, and psychology students always get an MSW. I'm one of them. But Ebony said, why'd you bring him? I would have never brought Rigsby, who was the old chair of the department. I'm like, she's like, I know you guys are boys, but you don't need to bring him. I'm like, it's not like that. It's like we actually had to
I had to.
chaperone, not do much more besides be there with you guys in case an emergency came up. That's it. I know that we let them do whatever they want. But how clear did Ebony make it that she doesn't work there anymore?
She went clear.
Did she?
Yeah.
I wondered about that.
She did. She didn't tell us what was the second. Was it the first name? Very kind of the second. It was way into it though.
That's what I'm thinking because I emailed her address and it bounced. I'm like, she doesn't work there anymore. When I emailed her at UC, I'm like, something.
I had to ask her, like, oh, do you used to work? Like, I think
She was like, I don't work here anymore. But
Was it Davion who asked her probably?
Yeah.
Samaje probably knew too. And then
Yeah.
that might have upset her. I don't know. Like, I don't know how it all went down.
She probably quit. I mean, she probably wanted, I don't know, she probably worked at a different school.
I understand that, but I know. So here we only pay 50 to 52. So she went to UC, as they pay you $90,000 a year. And if you're
Oh,
dean, yeah,
mean,
I would have stayed. I would have put up with the BS too.
like money wise, yeah.
And then as dean of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's like $120,000 a year. But I don't know if they got rid of those because of the Supreme Court rulings. Have you guys heard anything about that?
I don't know.
Like they found it unconstitutional. Is DEI institution.
One where like.
Affirmative action.
Yeah, they got
Right.
affirmative action,
That's what
but
I'm-
It was proven that it really only helped white women.
So it says no, Supreme Court did not make your company's DEI programs, which I guess they're just calling it something else now.
Yeah.
But so this might give us an answer. Like according to Zhang, I don't know who that is, DEI efforts fail, employee fatigue, backlash with DEI incentives, denial of inequality. Often employees will improve DEI in their organizations. So maybe they just axed that position at UC, like they just got rid of it. But I would have stayed on teaching. The hard part is if you're a teaching professor, it's 4 in the fall, 4 in the spring, and 4 in the summer.
Hmm.
So you don't get summers off. It's 12 classes a year for $90,000 a year, but it's still like double the pay that we got down here in the
Yeah.
Central. So maybe somebody wanted summers off. I don't know. And I didn't want to ask her either. I didn't want to be rude. Like, so why aren't you working for UC anymore? I don't know how to ask that question. But I am definitely curious. I know they get annoyed that we have our kids, but there's no other way that we can make it there without the kids. Like if I just,
I wasn't annoyed. I was cool. And they were fine.
I know it probably pisses them off though, because
But you really couldn't tell that they were there.
okay, I hope so.
I mean, in my opinion, maybe because I'm a mom. I don't know. It
Right,
didn't bother me at all.
right. I mean, we've done it.
I was really telling there when it was dinner time. Yeah, when it was dinner and they're running around. I was just looking at them like,
Did they wake you guys up though? I know you woke. Did they wake you up at like 7 a.m.?
I heard running.
Yep,
I'm gonna lie.
that's probably.
But by that time I was already up because I had woke up real like 4 a.m. I couldn't wake up.
It's hard to sleep in
You can't
hotels.
just look at it like it's being your kids. It's an open hotel, so it could be everybody's
It
kids.
is. You're right.
Like, there was a
I
whole
agree.
place, and it might not be your kids either.
But they were like, "Don't bring Perdomo. The budget doesn't include anymore." But it sounds like hotel room might have only been $150 a night, right? I'm
It's
guessing.
Not, it can't be too much more than that.
Yeah, I know. And so, like, yes, he had a hotel room, but he allowed the trip to happen. He's the chair of the department. We need to have faculty. So that was kind of.
And I'm pretty sure he left early. He probably said that was something like 2 hours.
I don't think he slept. Yeah. Like, he
Yeah.
had to hold the baby all night. His wife slept, which was good for her, but because he held, and this is either one person sleeps or the other person sleeps.
Yeah,
So that's the
that's
hard
right.
part. So,
I don't miss that time. Ooh, I sleep now. But
yes,
I remember not sleeping.
yes. So that was, but what other takeaways did you guys have? I just wanted to spend time to.
It did open my eyes to like the possibilities. Like I never thought about wanting to see from her. I just didn't.
Right.
So like when she ran the numbers down though, hers was like
What are the numbers? Did they?
she was like twice as much as
Because you have to take 41 hours.
Yeah.
And there's only 34 at UC, 34 at Miami Middletown.
Mm.
Yep. Miami is the cheapest of all programs around here. Yep. You can get a GA there. It's closer to Indiana.
How close is it?
Oxford's on the border of Indiana, for real.
Yeah, it's a lot closer.
What, an hour?
Yeah, so how long does it take you to get to the border?
It's probably like an hour and a half from here. Hour and a half.
It's really an hour.
Yeah, because I would say it's 2 hours in Indianapolis.
Right.
Just
So
leaving Indianapolis takes so much. It's like straightforward.
Yeah.
well, because it's traffic. Yeah, it's all
It's
that.
like straight driving, and it's nothing but fields and it's boring.
I know.
It don't be
So-
traffic out there. Go
so-
traffic. Are we still here?
But I liked it. I thought it was fun. I do plan to go again next year to make sure. And I do think I want my master's.
Do they get mad if we send you guys 2 years in a row by chance?
I don't know.
I know, because that's the other thing. They're like,
She remembers she met Samaje last year. She remembers that.
I know, but were they upset by that?
And she said, "Did you come last year?" I don't know.
But 7 students didn't make it, and it's probably because they scheduled it on Veterans Day weekend. It's a 3-day
Yeah.
weekend.
They probably went home.
I would have.
I would have too.
I get it.
But it was nice. It was fun.
Right.
I have to go to other places.
They fed us all day. I couldn't eat that much.
I can't either.
I'm not used to eating like that.
And I feel like the food was like thousands of dollars. The hotel rooms
Yes.
might have been $1,200.
Yeah, I feel like the food was way more. And,
Yeah.
And it was just our cater all day long.
And all the carry-out stuff.
And it was lots of
I
lots of
know.
food. I'm like, did y'all really do the numbers off this food? Good.
I'm not gonna
Right.
lie,
That's a lot of food.
It
swear,
was.
Y'all had like at least meals for 50.
And I saw 5 people with the 3 bags walking home. Like I would have too, but
Yeah, well, she told them to take snacks.
yeah.
Because they have all these snacks, but I just thought that amount. I couldn't eat that much food. Like,
Right.
Like even at lunch, I was like, I'll just take a couple pieces of pizza, I guess, because I'm not even hungry. That just finished perfect.
Right.
I didn't
So it was nice. They did a really good job, and then they did do a good job of like breaking down numbers, telling you what you could like,
Mhm.
do, how
Right.
to save money. I got like Gianna's number.
Okay.
So I mean, I got her email so that I could like email her for me too. But
Her, she ain't paying nothing.
she don't pay nothing.
The psychology grad?
No, she a social worker.
She's a social worker.
Oh.
She ain't paying nothing. She getting.
Yeah, she's got like a full ride and this
Really?
grant and all kinds of
Did
stuff.
she have a really good GPA or something?
She has to.
She has
And she's
to.
a GA too, though.
Okay. GA, RA, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, she ain't an artist. She out. She's out of. She's not a resident. No, not a resident. She's not on campus. She lives
Yeah.
off campus. So she pays just her own apartment. But she drives here from where.
Or a
she
TA.
lives.
Is it teacher's assistant? She's
Yeah,
a
you
TA.
could be a TA,
That
GA,
was-
and a RA.
Okay.
You could be all of
I
those.
think
I think
she's a TA. Or
Okay.
she's a GA.
I want to say she ain't because she works with Dr. Harlan.
Yeah. But she said she just helps her plan stuff like that.
Right.
She doesn't really grade paper very much. She just does.
That's
what she needs
nice.
her to. And I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah, because grading papers is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that.
No.
And I don't
You want to figure out how they grade you?
Yeah,
I told Angela, I said, if I end up grading papers, I'm giving everybody an A. It
Right.
don't matter if it was just bullshit.
I
Hey, here you go.
I feel like
I just paper was trash. So
Oh,
here,
I feel like some people.
my paper would be
I feel
check
like
plus.
Some professors don't even read them.
I do try to read them and at
That's
least
a lot
like
of reading though.
yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
is.
like,
It is.
This
I-
is like 12 pages.
It could be a lot, but I do. It's easiest to look for formatting. That's why you always hear shit back about APA style and like you got to fix this and your references
Right.
because that's the easiest part to get into. And then you could look up the article. So you just try to make sure that you guys are graduate school ready is the key.
Right.
And that's all.
That's just a whole lot of reading.
It
I
can
was
be.
imagining like 10 to 12 pages per student. But I'm not reading all that.
That is a lot.
That is a
I would
book.
grade someone though, her day paper and on time, so I'm gonna read another paper. And then just wait until like, oh, you didn't turn this paper in, what happened? I'll be like, I don't know. Like, well, you don't do it, then you ain't getting no grade.
So how much is their tuition? How much do they give you guys? And then
She said we all get some type of, we qualify for a certain scholarship.
the Great Minds.
What was
It's
that?
called Great Minds Expansion Program.
She said we qualify for something.
Because Great Minds only covers undergrad or grad school. But if there's an
Oh.
expansion program, I think it's so you can do both.
Well,
And that was what I got from Dana. I
she
forgot.
said there's like, she said the numbers, I can't remember. I'm trying to-
So
They
I
only-
would say tuition.
I had got sick there though on Saturday. Oh my God, my head hurt, and now I'm still doing it. Like,
Because their ventilation systems need to be cleaned out.
I think that's that happened.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
I woke up and was fine, and then it started.
Yeah, I had been.
And so then now all this drainage.
Yep.
Like, what is happening? And
The
it
dust.
literally happened Saturday.
From the
I was,
heat.
I was sitting there and everything. I have my head down. My head hurt so bad. It was like, oh, pounding.
Yes.
But I'm asthmatic, so it makes sense.
I had that when I woke up this morning. I had to get up and take every
If I could get it
decongestant.
really clean, it does.
I did the neti pot last night. Some blood even came out. So you
Yeah.
know it's like
It's real
dry.
bad and it's
It's,
pain.
yep.
And my face feels like it's swollen. And I'm
Yep.
like, bruh.
That's what. Huh?
I turned my hair off. I said,
I don't
Oh,
know
you
why
did?
I don't know. I
Oh.
it was too
It's
cold.
cold,
I didn't want to
yeah.
get on.
But I was really like, wait a minute, bro, I was fine yesterday. I went to bed, got up, I came and had perfect in my face hurt so bad.
Right.
Like, what is happening? It was so quick.
So here is
Oh, I brought my own food.
I didn't bring it.
I couldn't.
So here, apparently that UD thing that I signed up for, that big grant that I sent you guys.
Did y'all get it?
So we submitted in time. You find out like next semester. But
Okay.
Dana also did one, and I totally forgot. This was like, when is that? 3 weeks ago?
That's nice.
So this is what she's talking about. So UC is applying for Great Minds expansion, and it's for MSW, $10,000 scholarship, $5,000 paid internship.
I like that.
So then she gave me a generic letter of support from Dr. Allen, and then she just had me sign it
Why was it there?
because I didn't write it. Dr. Allen wrote it. So you start like using templates from other people.
Yeah.
It's like plagiarism in a sense. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, it's plagiarism, but I changed it, and then I'll show you what. Oh, maybe it's easier to do quick look. If you have a Mac, you gotta do quick look. There it is. Yeah, but sometimes you ever do these, and it's called the University of Cincinnati Health Professionals Pathway. So maybe they have to call it their own name. The BHPPPP will address the mental and behavioral health needs of underserved communities in the region by recruiting and retaining diverse and highly qualified pool of students, providing financial support to students, specializing cultural competence training in the curriculum that fits the needs of the population, and then partnering with agencies. Is that big enough? No. It's tiny. Maybe I can do it in Word and it will be bigger. Nope. Oh, she put it on our letterhead. That's creepy if she had it on our own letterhead. I think she did. And so, and see, it's generic because she wrote her own name. She wrote, Dear Dr. Harley. That would be like, Dear Miss Mason. Right. She wrote it to herself. Because it was for me to use, and so it says, this is me again. It's been a pleasure collaborating with UC Social Work over the past 7 years on the Diversity Enrichment Project. That's what you guys did this weekend. The primary aim of the DEP is to establish a recruitment pipeline between historically Black colleges and universities and predominantly white institutions to increase the diversity of students enrolling in graduate programs in the College of Allied Health Sciences. UC, due to the strong leadership's abilities of Dr. Harley, so she's writing about herself. That's good. Within 7 years, we have successfully established a pipeline and a total of 15 CSUs. So they get about 2 every year. And I think you guys met the 2 this year, right? What about the dude that graduated last year and he showed up? JL Fry.
I don't think I've seen him.
He was the big guy. He kind of like,
He was with us.
he was silent in the back of the room, like.
No,
And I think because he wants to go, but he's working right now with his social work degree in Cincinnati. He's from Cincy, so he just had to walk there pretty much. So 11 have graduated. 3 will graduate over the next 2 years. But does that mean that 1 never graduated? 15, 11 plus 3 is only 4, 14. So UC has given them $75,000. The multi-year DEP, CSU participated in 2-day all expenses paid camp. It used to be 3 days, all expenses paid. I guess it's better just 1 day because if it took your whole weekend, wouldn't you be pissed?
I probably yours had to keep sitting and doing stuff for that one.
Right. Well, they would take you to a football game or a basketball.
That's not too bad.
Right. They would take you to like.
They take you to activities.
Yeah.
Because OSU's is like that. They said there's just a whole weekend.
That's a long time.
But she said that that's why they make sure you're 21 and up, though, because they actually take you out to
Oh.
like party,
No, that's smart.
so that you can get the full experience. Of
Yeah.
the campus like you're doing. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then it says in-depth mentoring, coaching, workshops related to graduate school applications. Ebony's like, I'll write your application for you. And then she's like, I mean, I'll look it over for you. I was like, which one does she do? Does she write it for you or does she look it over?
She's talking about looking at the personal statement.
Right.
That's one of the things I don't really think I'm gonna do. Like, I wanna look at that, make sure that maybe
You don't want to write a personal statement?
I don't like working.
Oh. It just is your goals, like I'm intending to do this for an MSW so I can become independently licensed, work in agencies to support my local community,
Like he
and
says it so easily. The way he just did that, I don't even think about it. He can tell you used to do it.
I have had to write hundreds to apply to jobs.
Yeah.
It does stink after a while, but you get used to it. I wanted to make sure she was clear that she no longer works there, because if not, it's kind of leading dishonestly. Like,
Yeah. And a lot of people were like, you don't work here. And then they were like really upset because they really want to go there because she was there.
right. I get
Which
that.
would make sense because she is like the person that was like equal in the fence.
She was, yeah, I know, right.
So that
And
makes
that's,
sense.
but I'm wondering, so this, call me a conspiracy theorist, what does she get out of it?
She said she's doing it for us.
I know that, but I
But I
never,
feel like, do they give you something to come do that still?
like an intern that comes to your private practice, that the
Yeah.
government pays them $100 and you give them $20 an hour.
Right.
I don't know. That's my question.
There's something there.
I would think so.
I would just have to, because the whole weekend, you're going to give them for free weekend. For free.
And you gotta,
To talk to some, no, she's too busy for work.
I would think she's too busy,
She
a
has
husband
so
and
much
kid.
going on. The way she's talking about her husband, her grandkids, she runs her own business. Like, she's too busy.
Does she have grandkids too?
Yeah, her
What?
husband, her first husband, kids.
Oh, so he had a first
But he
marriage.
has kids.
I see. Okay, okay.
She said that she doesn't have a
But maybe I'm sensitive because she's like, why'd you bring Perdomo? I'm like, dude, like it really was not that expensive to add one hotel room
Yeah.
to make sure there's chaperones. Ideally, otherwise there was no chaperones for the whole weekend. And like you were saying, whoever set it up should make sure we have,
Yeah, like ahead of time, make sure those dates work with everyone else.
and the proper paperwork is in, because we
Yeah.
have to do a request for travel. And if you don't, you guys both have worked for the university, right? So there's liability if you don't have like all of it documented.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they want name, date,
Yeah.
student ID, who you want to see and why are you seeing it, and they'll have the trip on there. And then like, after they
Yes.
sign in, they knew that, okay, they're ready to see me. And then like the manager, my manager, he has to like write it on, like write it.
We do that at Trio. Like,
Okay.
Trio makes you sign into with your
Right.
so they know who comes.
Yes. So what's interesting about the fact she asked for $1,100,000. It doesn't say this on here or on the email, which is fine, but the UD person asked for over $1 million too, and then included us into the budget. So it's interesting because they're both PWIs, UD and UC.
Right.
The grant, I wasn't totally clear based off of this email what I did end up signing it, but I was like, what is it? It does say Great Minds expansion. But that was it. So I had no idea it was the exact same thing as this from the University of Dayton. That's right behind it. This thing that she actually put us on as co-authors and co-PIs, co-authors, whatever, and then like explicitly listing the details of the funds. And a great way to write a paper. Why use it as an example for your final paper? And I told her, she's like, well, we're going to be better at recruiting diverse students than UD is. Maybe, I guess. I mean, I see it. They did it. They set up a good program to recruit you guys and show that you do have support there. If previous students are saying you do, I don't know. I mean, that's.
Yeah. It would have been nice if they were open, like to really see.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we have support there, but I feel like it was still section about like, honestly, there's like that I feel like was geared towards like people culture.
Oh, I visited that building. It was closed that day,
it was
though.
closed that day.
They let us go in there last year.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Yeah, it's only 7% diverse. So that's
so
what
that's
you
why I was
see.
like, you have to keep that in mind a little bit because, in a sense, like if you really think as deep as I do, am I just your statistic number to make it even, you know?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
unfortunately, you gotta think like that. but-
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But yes. And they're
That's how I
also,
think, but I think different than everyone else. I'm asking all kinds of stuff. Like,
well, I don't know if you all were there or eavesdropping when Ebony said, you need to apply to a PWI trial to use your white man card. I said, that doesn't work anymore, Ebony.
yeah.
It really doesn't. And she's like, no, you use the white man card. I'm like, there is no longer such a thing. I swear
Yeah.
to you. She's like, no, you just use the white man card. I'm like, maybe in the 80s or 90s.
That's how it works.
But
It might not be the
What's that?
white man card. I don't think it's a card. It's just like.
She's saying it's white privilege, but
Yeah.
in 3 years, Fortune 500 companies have hired 300,000 people, and only 6% of them have been white.
Yeah.
Is that why white?
But now it's because a lot of these like places are trying to be more inclusive.
They
So
are.
like they're purposely hiring people of color
Right.
to make it look
Right.
inclusive. So then it's still like that's what I want to do because I don't want to be just remembered.
Just the
But-
checkbox. And you
Yeah,
had
I
a
don't
question too. What were you about to ask?
Well, because like, what was on one? It was on TikTok. It was like it was for computer science. It was like the expo fair, like it was a job fair, and they had panels, they had all that. But because the Supreme Court justice passed that, oh, you can't be like, oh, it's for women, just for women.
Affirmative action.
Yeah,
Right.
they can't, so they got that out. Now white men can come, like men, not just white men, but like men could come in the space, which is they're like, it's fine that you do, but don't just come there because you just want a job opportunity.
Oh, because they identify as a woman, you mean?
You can.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
But they don't have to though. But that's the thing,
Interesting.
you don't have to, they didn't have to, they just honestly signed up, went in. One of them said, it was a lot, there was an article about it, they said one of them stepped over like a woman to get past her to introduce himself to a potential employee, like.
Really?
This
Yeah.
is very rude and
And-
aggressive. That's
They even, some were even hitting on them, hitting on the women that was
What?
there. They didn't even go to the panel. They just went straight to the job fair. So I'm like, so you kind of go to this place, at least act like you want to be there.
Right, like put on a wig,
Yeah.
shave, put on some lipstick.
But it was
And,
open to them because,
pretend like you're just-
right, right.
and then, but they didn't, and then like, when someone had pointed out, a lot of men were mad, like, well, why did that? I'm like, but you get a lot of jobs.
Right. Yes, there is clearly a
And Cody
disparity.
started- And it was like Cody started off with women, like, women, you gotta cope with men.
Right.
Women had a tea shop and that was dominating the whole field.
I didn't even know. Yeah, that makes sense that it's wow.
When I was like watching it, like it kept popping up, like they just really messed up, like, and then they were hating on girls, women.
That is kind of messed up
And then one of
because
them do it, ain't no people, some people are aggressive with wording. So, like, you think you got her, but no, she really scared. Like,
Right.
He even said someone took a picture to try to take a picture of someone, a girl, like a woman's upper skirt. During the whole, like, during it, I'm like, you didn't even show out, it was a lot, like. But they said.
Right.
But because the affirmative action was like, was it abolished? Now it couldn't be like, oh, this is for like the safe space. They had to open up some men to make it fair.
golden rule. So I know that Tyler's not here, but I promised him I was going to do something on documentation and paperwork. So I'll make sure to go through several classes. You guys have already had parenting styles because you got that last semester. But this is the agencies. Has anybody taught you guys paperwork yet? Or have you worked at an agency where you have to do this type of paperwork? There's no right or wrong answer. This is just,
Is this where you write for goals and stuff?
this will be part of the goals, yes.
We're doing that now. in our curriculum.
Are you? Okay, good. 'Cause This is, it includes stuff about groups because you still have to have a treatment plan in groups. You have to go through the same process. So DAF is the assessment. It stands for Diagnostic Assessment of Functioning. So that's the assessment. That's your first thing. Diagnosis is how you set up clinically appropriate services. That would be your supervisor. And we'll go through more of this Wednesday and Friday because Tyler's not here. He's the one who asked about this. ISPs are treatment plans. So and what it means is individualized service plan. And a review is when a client's been there more than 6 to 12 months and you got to say like, we worked on this goal, now we're going to work on this goal. Progress notes is how you bill. So you have like a treatment plan. I worked on this goal. Client responded this way. Here's what we did. Then like, oh yeah, they all push this because what collaborative documentation means is you write your notes the last 7 minutes of your session to bill for it and to write your note and get it done in the time that you see that client. Because in the old days, you would see all your clients, like I would see 20 and on Friday I'd write 20 notes and it would take like an hour and a half or 2.5. But if you do collaborative documentation, you like do it with your client sitting there looking at your computer saying, yes, this is the goal we worked on. Here's how you responded to it. Here's ideas for next week's goal. And that's collaborative. Then there's like government agencies for fair notes and then how to discharge them. So it's a long ass PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
What is super helpful is every agency still has to do this. Even in Indiana, I know it's specific to Ohio here. It says 12 years ago, the Ohio Department of Mental Health provided clear guidelines for these two important concepts. And this is what the golden thread is in medical necessity. It says in order for any service to be billed to Medicaid, the golden thread and medical necessity must be established. And what they're saying is like your diagnosis connects to your treatment plan, connects to your discharge summary, and connects to every single piece of paperwork you do in an agency. So that's every single thing you do at an agency. I don't want to go too far in because Tyler is the one who asked for this, and it is specific to notes. And I guess he's going to start work next week at this agency.
Yeah.
Fast. So I was like, I got something, and I go over it anyway. In practice, it's most relevant, not so relevant in human behavior in the social environment or intro to social work. So I do it just like Nikita does in practice.
Yeah.
So clinical form, support for diagnosis. Usually in Ohio, you can diagnose people with your BSW, LSW, but your supervisor has to sign off.
Sign off on it.
Yep. And so it's DSM-5 TR now. So this is old enough that it's, why is there all this stuff happening? And then treatment recommendations. So like the treatment plan, should they get a caseworker, should they get a counselor, and should they get a social worker? And I've showed you some of those forms with like the Homer assessment. Well, I have those forms, which I can send to you guys again, but they're helpful to write up an assessment. Then from your assessment comes ISP is the treatment plan, or they call it individualized service plan. And so the goals address the need of the diagnostic assessment form. The objectives are like measurable, say, meet with caseworker 2 times a week. Take medication 3 times a day, like something that's like very specific, numeric. And then the interventions are like what you use to accomplish the objectives. You got to have goals, objectives, and something else. Excuse me. And then you write your notes that way too. So it's tied to your treatment plan. It describes the intervention. And then you write, usually your notes are the progress towards the goals and objectives. Like client was bad again this week, got suspended, worked backwards, it actually is doing worse. And that happens sometimes. And then like more work with them and interventions make them better. And I feel like that's a decent enough with 6 minutes to go, a good stopping place. But that's kind of the thesis of how do I work for an agency? Are you doing the Great Minds too?
No. No, you could be.
That's right. And they'll do this same process with notes. And maybe even if you have to write notes where you are now, do you have to write any notes ever?
I don't necessarily have to. Usually
Okay.
our nurses in the
Maybe you read them to know what you have
I
to
have
do.
to read them to know how to treat them. Like
Yes.
what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
What their care plan is so that I can do the right thing.
Right. So same thing. And then there's even one specific to the groups. So when they assess and diagnose them, it will say they're like suitable for a trauma therapy group, or they're suitable for boys council or girl circle. My allergies want to flare up now.
Mine are
Like I can barely talk, and I have to meet 5 clients at the private practice.
I don't know, I can't even breathe.
I know. I notice it's funny is if I go run, it usually makes my nose run and like I snot it all out and I'm good. But I haven't run since we got to UC. I haven't had a second
Take a
run
run.
anywhere. So
Would your wife have, when you got your Chipotle dinner done?
got what done?
When you got Chipotle dinner done?
No, I brought her those. I brought her that. But Ebony was talking shit about that too. She's like, don't do your family like that. Cause what I usually do is I save what I was eating. We all usually eat together.
Yeah.
But I don't want to waste food, so I put that in one section. Then I put in corn and like
Stop adding stuff.
yeah. But she's like, "Don't do your family like that. Here, get them some good." I was like, oh my God. I was making jokes when I'm like, I left them at the hotel room and I'm coming here to eat. I was totally joking. And I think she thought I was totally serious. I was being sarcastic. I already taken them home. They were napping.
Right. I mean, I knew that.
She had no idea. She thought I was like, no, the woman takes charge of the kids and I go to work. I was playing, totally playing.
No, it's fine. I don't like shows.
That's so messed up.
If you want to make her mad, that's on you.
Right. No, I was totally playing, but I didn't bring them as they're also a distraction to all of you guys. So we just went home.
I didn't play it. I really thought they were really well behaved.
I hope so.
For them
I
to be
mean,
as small as they are,
right.
in a whole lot worse than that. Just saying.
Right.
All they do is run on the table. It was just a cool place.
Right. That was funny, and they
And
ripped
then like, no, don't go under there. And I'm like, what's
This is
under
not
there?
the table. They fine.
because they pulled the tablecloth down and like the bags
Oh.
once.
Oh yeah.
But that was fine, as I had set a bag aside and that was all packed up. As he dumped it out, he likes dumping everything out. So then I
He wants to see what's in there.
put that bag back. He does it to everything in our house. Our whole house is, huh? I took one. They were gone by the time I tried to take another
Yeah, so
one.
they gave us two.
Oh, they had you guys take 2. Those little chargers are sweet.
Yeah, the
Like-
little travel one.
I need those chargers. So we'll hope to see Tyler. He didn't check in here. He can watch the review. Anybody can. Maybe I need to start making it where like I just send you guys the link. But it seems easy.